Hi, everybody. I'm Elliot Polite with GuitarEdge.com, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you guys Nuno Bettencourt, who's on tour with Rihanna. How you doing, man?
Where?
Yeah, where is she? Where? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So first off, man, let's go through your rig that's up here. If you want to walk us through it.
Well, there's nothing too exciting going on except for my usual, the usual beast, the usual original N4, the one I've been using for, I hate to say 20 years now, I think. So it's I'm getting old, but yeah, there it is. It's getting old with me.
What kind of pickups are loaded in that?
That's just. Oh, you're gonna start asking me those questions?
Oh, come on.
You got a Bill Lawrence, and we just obviously have like just a neck pickup, like an actual Seymour Duncan up there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the ones that've been there for forever.
For 20 years?
Forever. Yeah.
Great. So, and then these are your signature amps?
The amps that I've been using, that they basically have been out for about a year and a half, 2 years, and they're a signature amp that Randall puts out. And it's just a basic amp, but just for me, they really match everything that I do, and they look pretty wild. But it's just a clean, distorted, and just a solo channel. But the idea is the fact to just get something that really works well for all three, as opposed to I've never found like an amp with 3 channels that I really, I've bounced through Marshall and using Kettner throughout the years, but I finally found something that I don't think I can ever go back to anything else. I mean, this thing is really proud of it and really excited about using it live.
Sure. And the story behind this was that you went and had somebody that built this for you, and you took it to Randall, and then it took off from there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I work with somebody in Australia, this Peter King, and yeah, we had it in a very sort of Frankenstein in Frankenstein mode, and then we brought it over. Asked Randall if they were willing to do it, and then the guys at Randall helped me sort of fine tune it and tweak it and get it together. And I know when I brought them the look of it, they were kind of a little bit scared, but I think they dig it now.
Aesthetically, I think it's very cool, and it sounds great too. So it's a good combo.
Yeah, I mean, the best place to hear it is probably on the new Extreme Live. The DVD we put out in the Extreme Live. That's probably gives you a good flavor exactly of where it's heard.
Mm-hmm. Now let's go ahead and go through his actual pedal board down here.
The pedal board thing is also pretty basic. I use the GT8 only because I haven't been using it in a long time, but I use it when there's with the Rihanna stuff. You have to have real diverse sounds. I mean, R&B stuff, funk stuff, heavy rock, punk, hip hop. So I need a lot of sounds within a song. So I just go through and I use that Boss GT8, and basically octave pedal, which I use a lot just for certain things. Your old tuner, a little gate. And I switch between cable and wireless. I hate wirelesses, so I only use it when I have to, because to me, when I have to go out to the front of the stage, or I go into the middle out there, or I have to go out. But anywhere I come on, I switch and put back the cable, because wirelesses are kind of cool. They've come a long way these days, but nowhere near as good as having the umbilical cord connected to you, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, being a big cable guy, is there a cable you actually go with, like pretty much, whether it's Mogami, or what kind of cable do you actually use?
I think right now, I had a cable I was using for 20 years that Proco made for me, and I hated parting with it, but it was just getting so beat up. It just had the right tone, Most of the times, the most expensive cables people make are the worst. Mm-hmm. Like all this sort of super duper, ground.
This blocks out atmospheric pressure.
I look for the cheapest cables usually. You can walk into any sort of store and find a great 25, 30-foot cable. We try 2 or 3. Sometimes it's Mogami or whatever that Steve puts together, but they're really basic, and they have to be as simple as possible because they kill a lot of your tone. They can change your tone.
Yeah. Tell me about what it's been like, being on tour with Rihanna. What has that changeover been for you like?
The changeover. I don't know. I don't know what I would call it, if it's a changeover, but it's ironically enough, I don't really do much differently than Extreme, as far as like the sound and the amp and the guitars. Everything's literally we could kick into any Extreme tune and it would be the same sound. So I get to just kind of be me and play over, and ruin her songs for her and make them rock out a little bit more. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, there is a lot of cool, rock elements to this show. Was that something that happened as like you came into it and they kind of built this kind of around you, or they're just like, here, you have fun with it and do your thing? No,
there is a bit of a free reign, but there's also a music director, this guy who's a bit of a rocker, this incredible guitar player named Tony Bruno, who's out of New York, and he's responsible for a lot of the arrangements and giving the show a lot of its edge. Mm-hmm. But slowly but surely, you hope to take some of those ideas and kind of make them your own, and once again ruin all her songs.
Now you still have stuff going on with Extreme. You got the new live DVD out. What's going on with the Extreme stuff?
Extreme. I remember those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. No, you know what? One of the reasons I thought it was cool to take this gig also is because I'm not, the actual artist, so to speak. I don't have to do all the press, except for this, and I don't have to do like all the meet and greet stuff. And I kind of get all this great downtime. I mean, I do sound check, I do the show, but I can work a lot in the dressing rooms. I have my Pro Tools rig with me, and I work a lot in the bus and hotels. So I've been writing for the last year on this thing. Just at least 70-80% of the new Extreme record is done, and at least 70 to 100 ideas, new ideas of songs, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. I mean, the recording process. I mean, you're on the bus. I mean, what are you using just to kind of get your ideas out?
Just a lot of it just straight up, just a Pro Tools, LE that I record with in the bus and off my laptop, and I use mostly plugins and things, things like that.
Guitar reamp stuff.
A lot of the 11 plugins and some of the amp farm stuff, just to, it's perfect to get the stuff done without lugging tons of stuff. And if I really wanted to record something proper, I just bring it onto stage and just there it is, So that's all. Some keyboards here and there, some. And a triangle, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Gotta never leave home without a triangle, kids. You'd be surprised the inspiration that gives you.
So, I mean, let's talk about that, actually, because there is a big push right now for, I mean, especially faster players, I mean, such as yourself. I mean, for that digital, I got the Fractal guys that are doing the Fractal Axe effects, which are modeling all the amps. I mean, what's your take on that?
The whole digital world in general, I mean, whether it be video, whether it be guitar effects, it's always a great version of it when it stays digital. For instance, I mean, you can listen to any of those, sort of virtual sort of mods and amps and everything, and you go, wow, this sounds amazing, until you A/B it with a real amplifier.
Real tubes.
Real tubes, a real amplifier, real anything. It's the same thing with even Pro Tools itself, recording just a digital. You go, wow, it's great. It's at 88K now, and everybody goes, we don't need 2-inch anymore. Until we went to do the last Extreme record, Saudades, and we went in and we went through a 2-inch, and it was night and day. So we recorded everything on tape, and then it ends up digitally anyways. But it's all great, but there's just something that lacks about any of the analog stuff. That's so the human aspect of it, the dirt sometimes is all a bit, it's all too nice sometimes,
In our interview, we actually covered a Gear That Got Away story. You want to talk to us about what that piece of gear was for you that you wish you had back?
You mean that triangle from high school?
Triangle from high school, yes.
No, it was an electric that I basically, probably the first guitar I'd ever played, and I'm not sure I realized how cool it was or what it was, but I fell in love with it. It's a Padula Orsini electric guitar, not acoustic. It's an electric, and it just disappeared. I heard recently, after actually I did that interview with you, I did a bit of research, and I started kind of tracking it down a little bit, and I ended up, I think I'm potentially about to find it.
Oh, snap.
It might be at a friend of a friend's house, who somebody sold it from my brother, got rid of it, and I don't know if it's in pieces, I don't know what it is, but I'm in the process of tracking it down.
We have a Facebook question from, I'm probably going to butcher this, Emmanuel Guerrera. Got that one. If you could relive one moment from your past, what would it be?
Wow.
A very long past to dig through.
I mean, there has to be categories of that, meaning is it a family question? Is he talking musically? Is he talking in career, maybe, I would imagine?
Let's do career. I mean, the career in music, yeah, because that's a very vague question, but...
The birth of children and things like that. You got to be careful not putting those in the top 2 or 3, marriages and things like that. But, wow, relive. I think for me, probably one of the greatest days for me was probably that Freddie Mercury tribute concert. I think I would have probably paid a bit more attention to the detail of it if I could go back. Just the sheer heroes that were walking around that backstage and stage, and probably didn't take advantage of. I was a bit too shy. I wasn't, I was just not forward enough to go and be in the same room with David Bowie and just go and sit down and have a proper conversation with him. Or I had a conversation with Robert Plant and a bunch of other people, but there was so many there that I wish I just, if I go back now, what am I, an idiot? I should have just went and really just cornered these guys and had some great conversation. That day was amazing. I would have gone back and kind of, luckily it was captured on video, so I remember it. But the backstage part of it, we were really busy at the same time doing the 3 sides, the third side of 3 sides for every story that night and the next day. So I was very focused on the 70-piece orchestra and the whole thing I had to work on. So it would have been good to go back and kind of reevaluate that whole thing.
Absolutely. The last question I have for you, man, we had talked about the Midnight Express song. At the very end, there's some sounds that happen, you kind of laugh, and there was a big discussion about, if you had played so, hard or so fast that you had actually burnt out the pickups. There's a crackling sound, but we kind of discovered what that was. Can you still do that sound?
Wow. I don't know. I don't know if I still have it in me. Yeah, it's the, when I was very little, I did swallow a full horse by accident, and that's what I tell my kids anyways. Can I do that sound? I don't know what's harder, doing the sound or doing it while Kesha's on right now.
There's Kesha in the background blaring. There it was. I urge you guys to go back, listen to Midnight Express, last part of the song. That's what that sound is.
Already, but that was it.
Thank you so much, Nuno. Dude,
thanks for coming.
It's a real pleasure.
Security?
Yeah.
Please get him out of my dress room now. Thank
Nuno
you.
Bettencourt, everybody.